So I'll just whip the front wheel out and take off this offside front fork leg and just change the seal. Okay, looking at the bottom of this fork, it's obviously leaking, presumably from the Doughty washer and the Allen bolt into the bottom. I think the axle pressed against the bottom was sealing that up. But it's surprising because it wasn't leaking when the bike was standing immediately after I'd assembled the forks. So I think obviously riding it has somehow put some pressure on that Doughty washer perhaps and caused it to leak. And now I've taken the front wheel out and the axle out, it's kind of pouring out of the bottom. So yeah, I think the top seal is leaking as well because it's definitely wet on the stanchion and underneath the rubber dust cap. But it looks like it's leaking here at the bottom as well. The other one, meanwhile, is absolutely fine. So looks like it's only this one that I've messed up somehow. Anyway, I'll take it off and see what I can find. Okay, so the fork leg is off. One surprising thing is that this socket screw was loose virtually, so that would explain why it was leaking. But I don't understand that. Why on earth it was loose? Obviously, I didn't do it up properly, but I was pretty sure I'd done it up tight when I assembled it and used my homemade special tool to hold the top end so it wasn't spinning inside. So, yeah, curious. But I think that was definitely a contributor. But I think also that this top seal was leaking as well. So I'll take this out. I've got a set of new ones, or new old ones. These are the early type with the metal showing on the outside, the steel. So I'll put some silicone sealant around the outside just to make sure that they don't leak on the outside. The new old stock allegedly, which I've no reason to disbelieve. Anyway, so I'll stick that one instead. Right, I managed to get that out by collapsing it in effect. Looks a right mess, isn't it? But with a cold chisel in the side, just pushed over. That's up this way, of course. Pushed that over until it started to shrink in diameter. So that's okay. No damage done to this. Just a bit of gunge in there. So I just need to maybe I'll dig the Doughty washer out, check it's okay, and clean that out again just with and put the new seal in. Make sure I tone it up properly this time. That's really weird. I don't understand that, but still, it is what it is. So there's the Doughty washer. And again, first glance that looks okay. I'll check it with a magnifying glass just to make sure there's nothing wrong with the seal. Yeah. Okay, so I've worked out what's gone on with this lower fork leg. I put on a spring washer, thinking that was a good idea, onto this bottom Allen screw that fits in to hold the damper tube in place. And I realise now that washer is too thick. So what's happened is that with the washer, well actually, anyway, I think that has not been in there far enough. So as the spindle has been put on and pressed on by the holding studs, it's actually put a dent into the top of the Allen screw. So that's distorted the hexagon, which means that the Allen key doesn't fit properly anymore. That's the wrong one. That's the right one. doesn't quite fit in. It's very close, but it's been nipped in either side. So that doesn't fit properly, and I think it's also pushed this up. The spindle has pushed the Allen screw up and effectively loosened the grip on the temper tube. So that was a big mistake on my part. That's why it was leaking, of course, because there's no pressure on this dirty washer under the damper screw, and so it was leaking. As soon as I took the spindle off and opened up this hole, oil started to leak out. So I say that appears to be too thick. There's obviously a shiny witness mark on this Allen screw here, which I don't quite understand. And on the face of it, there's enough room for that washer. So I need to check that out again and make sure I'm not doing something else stupid. But I mean, there is room on the face of it to have that washer thickness there and still sit underneath this surface. But yeah, I don't know whether there's something else stuck in this hole. Anyway, I'll make sure I get it right next time. Yeah, see, that's well below well, it is below this surface now with the washer. I guess maybe it isn't. Yeah, in fact, looking at that, that is well above the surface. Okay, so that was my mistake. I'll check the parts manual, see whether there should be a washer there at all. Oh well, we live and learn, I suppose. The other one seems alright, so I think I use the same washer, so that's kind of strange. So yeah, as chance would have it, I do have a milling cutter, which is just the right size for this hole. I think the base of the hole was not flat. This is a new old stock part, so I'm pretty sure it's as it was machined by BSA back in the 70s. But the bottom definitely wasn't flat, but it is now, just by hand using this milling cutter, because this washer that I've used on this side is exactly the same as the one I used on the other side. So I'm assuming, I haven't taken that apart of course, but I'm assuming the other one has a deeper counterbore than this leg does. So either they've changed the spec, or this one is slightly different to it's unintentionally different to the other fork leg. So that is still not quite below that line of the spindle. But I think with a bit of judicious use of this end mill by hand, I can correct that. So there's a new seal in. So I've used some Loctite 5980, just a very thin smear around the circumference. Some of it's just coming out slightly, but hopefully that should seal the steel onto the aluminium, since this is the early type seal. Yep, looks good. So I get this in next with the dirty seal, dirty washer. I think I will put a little blob of silicone on that as well this time. I didn't last time, but probably a good idea. Yeah, so this socket cap screw has just burred over slightly where the spindle is laid across there. So this ball-ended Allen key, I reckon if I just hammer that into there, it'll just open up those burrs, and I can use this screw again. Put in the copper jaws and get that shoulder against the top of the jaws so that it's well supported. And maybe, so it almost goes in, just not quite. See what happens. Yeah, and that's in, and it's stuck now, of course. Get it back out again. Let's try the other end, the hex end. Yeah, again, that's gone in. So it's these two sides that are dodgy. Just try and open it off it. Yeah, that's better. That fits in again now. Yeah, it's fine. Good. So I can reuse that again. Right, well, I've checked the stanchion and I can't see any nicks in it or anything that's likely to damage the seal. And it's not brilliant, but it's good enough, I think. It's only as good as this side. So I'm going to use it again, not replace the whole stanchion. I'm just going to be ultra careful in getting the seals over this front edge especially. So front wheel back on, 190 millilitres of automatic transmission fluid in the fork, top nut down up to 55 foot-pounds, the cap nuts done up to 15 foot-pounds. So I think that's all okay. Hopefully the seal will work this time and not leak. And obviously that problem with the cap screw in the base of the fork is fixed as well.